Y'all, we are officially back in Westeros. Dragons are everywhere. Bitches is getting burnt up. Council meetings are shady as hell. Let's get into it! So y'all already know how we do it over here. I'm going to spend more time on certain scenes than others, just talking about the things that stuck out to me this episode, right? This first episode of the premiere. I'm so excited. The introduction to the episode is kind of stuff that we had already kind of seen a little bit based off of the promos and all the trailers and stuff that they released. It was just about the Great Council and how thousands of lords had come and 14 claims to the throne were heard, but only 2 were really taken seriously. And that was, of course, Viserys and Rhaenys. Rhaenys lost, of course, because she's a woman and this society is extremely sexist and patriarchal. So Viserys won that shit. But at the end, I love what they said at the end of the intro, where they said, like, the only thing basically that could tear the House of the Dragon down was itself, which is what we knew, which is what we expected to see, which is what the whole Dance with Dragons is about. And I can't wait to get into it. I love seeing Rhaenyra on her fucking dragon. She's just riding around. Just going for a joyride. You know, she came down. And I love that we got to see the Dragon Keepers here speak to Cyrax in Valyrian. I thought that was cool. They were trying to get her to go inside. Like, come on now, calm down, turn here, come inside. Like, I thought it was real cute. I hope we get to see, well, I'm sure we're definitely going to see more of that. I love just seeing Westeros again. They're trying to immerse us back into the world. I think it was very successful. This entrance into King's Landing was real cute. And then we get the scene here with Rhaenyra and her mom, and she was just like, hey, guess what, baby? Her mom was like, hey, guess what? You see what I'm doing right now? You see how pregnant I am? You see what I'm doing? This is your future. This is what you can look forward to. Right? And she said, we have royal wombs, and this discomfort is how we serve the realm. And what else did she say? We must learn how to face it with a stiff lip. And I'm presuming that means, like, don't say shit. Get your be subservient, don't say shit, and just bear it. That's it. And of course, Rhaenyra's like, I don't want to do that. she's like, I'd rather be a knight. And I understand. I get it, Rhaenyra. That's a lot to be your mama, especially given what happened at the end of this fucking episode, child. Anyway, so we skipped to the damn council meeting, which I thought the introduction was funny, especially given what we heard about Corlys Velaryon and how he doesn't like fools. It seems like he doesn't like foolishness in general. So we started off with the king, I guess, King Viserys, telling some weirdo joke. Oh, you should have looked both ends. I forget what the fuck on the other end. I forget what he said. It was some corny ass joke. And Corlys is like, girl. Corlys, his face right here. He's like, anyway, girl, anyway. He was like, all this joking y'all doing at the table, it's not that funny. It's really not that hilarious. Can we please talk about the Triarchy? Because if we don't do anything about them, he essentially says that it's going to bankrupt our ports. It's going to fuck up our ports if you let the Triarchy do whatever fuck they want to in the Stepstones. And if you don't know where the Stepstones is at, it's right here. Based up, you already see that's Westeros. And in the middle right there, you got all the Stepstones, which we will be seeing, I'm sure, if it's not later on in this season, we'll be seeing it later on in the show when Daemon go down there and do what Daemon need to do, probably. So I can't wait to see that. They talk about a couple of things in this council meeting. One of them was also the fact that, I don't know, one of them was pissed because there was like, Daemon ain't here. He don't come to the fucking meetings, and he costing the crown with all this fucking city watch bullshit. Like, what the hell's going on? But I mean, I love how we get to see Viserys' personality, because there's a bunch of serious shit really going on. They brushed off Corlys. They kind of brushed off this fucking Daemon shit. But what he's most excited for is this damn tourney. And the thing is, you don't even know if this child would be born. And bitch, you're a Targaryen. Like, let's stop acting brand new. You already know what happened when it comes to childbirth. So he don't even know if this child will be born. And he was talking about, oh, well, girl, I'm certain that it's a boy. Child, you don't know. Unless did you have a dragon dream about that shit? Anyway, so let's just go to the scene where we introduced to Daemon. Of course, I think that was a cool way to introduce him on the throne. And in hearing Rhaenyra and Daemon speak in Valyrian was really cool. It makes them seem that much more like otherworldly. It makes the Targaryens seem that way. I don't know. More enchanting? I don't know. Maybe it's the way that the language sounds, but the fact that they're speaking language. The fact that another culture runs underneath the culture that they have conquered. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the reason why Daemon came back in the first place after telling Rhaenyra that he hates court is because he heard that the king was throwing this tourney in just honor of his heir, and he was like, bitch, obviously I'm the heir. And Rhaenyra was like, actually this scene here where we learned that Viserys kind of has like a little infection going on, and he said he tries to brush this off as well, almost like, well girl, it's just a small cut from sitting on the throne. And we already know how crazy the throne is to a lot of times to those people who sit in it, like the rulers who sit in it. It has been there have been rumors people been cut themselves on the throne, all type of shit, obviously infections from the throne. So he's just like, the maesters are like, girl, we gotta cauterize it. Viserys like, bitch, whatever, do what you have to do. Otto's like, keep this shit quiet. Sir Otto, I'm gonna get in on your ass in a second with your weirdo ass. Viserys silly ass over here talking about, oh my god, I dreamed a dream, and I put my son on the throne, and when I put him on the throne, all the dragons roared as one. And I'm sitting here thinking, obviously because we know it's about to happen, I'm like, girl, wrong son. Woo, that's what Daemon said, ain't it? Wrong son, nigga, wrong son. You serious? He said, oh, I put my son on the throne. Yeah, sis, you put the other son on the throne. The other one, you put Alicent motherfucker on the throne. And bitch, all the dragons started roaring. And it wasn't because they were in harmony. It's because it was in disarray, sis. Like, what are you talking about? Child, his wife gonna brush off that stupid shit as she should and end up telling him, look, I understand what you got going on. She's like, I understand what you think is about to happen, but let me tell you what I'm experiencing. I cannot deal with not one more child. I cannot deal with not one more death of another child. I'm telling you that shit right now. You already know how badly these pregnancies went for me. It's just, I cannot deal with this shit no more. So you can keep trying what you want to try and do what you want to do, sweetie. But this is the last time. And it was, no shame. It's not funny. It's not funny. But it was like, damn, it was a lot. It was a lot. So Daemon gonna do some nasty ass shit in the middle of the city. Now, and this shit was nasty. This shit was gross. It was horrible. It was horrible to watch. I mean, it was just disgusting. What Daemon was doing with the thin blue line, bitch. That's what he was fucking doing. I mean, Daemon was walking around here as a whole entire fucking cop, sis, with the city watch and say, hey, guess what? You just picking, oh, the criminals? Okay, you're a rapist. Let me cut off your nuts. You're a steal. You like to steal, so let me cut off your hands. It was just bad. The gold cloaks was running rampant in this motherfucker. It was really horrible to see. So of course they bring it up at the next council meeting, and I love the dialogue, bitch, because Sir Otto said the prince cannot be allowed to act with this kind of unchecked impunity. And then they gonna see Daemon sitting there at the council table, and Daemon's like, no, go ahead, carry on. You were saying something about my impunity. So basically, Daemon's whole argument was just like, sis, I'm enforcing y'all laws, the laws of King's Landing. Y'all already know King's Landing is terrible and shitty when it comes to crime. Do you want when the nobles come here? Y'all already know they coming here for the tourney. You want when they come here, this gonna be all bullshit. They gonna be stolen from and raped. Y'all want that? I mean, Daemon sounds just like the police departments of 2022 in this world. He said, bitch, how are we going to take care of crime if we don't brutalize people in the streets? How are we going to deal with the bitch? Daemon said, bitch, I'm fighting the war on crime and the war on drugs, bitch. What the fuck are you doing, bitch? And Jim Crow Joe Biden Joe was sitting right next to him writing the laws of King's Landing, bitch. It was just, I can't deal. So they just basically deal with him by saying, Sir Otto says to Daemon, hey, bitch, you want to go to your wife? You want to go back home to your wife and stop playing around in King's Landing? And Daemon say, bitch, where's yours? Daemon said to Sir Otto, bitch, you over here worrying about my wife, what I'm doing. You need to, if you had a business, you know how to run a business, but you fucking don't. Daemon said, bitch, your wife is dead. You talking about my wife? Let's not go there. You want to go there? Basically, Viserys just gave Daemon a slap on the wrist, and that was it. Bitch, we meet Lady Mysaria, and I don't know, let me tell you something. That his body was looking good. I ain't gonna lie. The body, they was looking sexy. His body was looking good, but them strokes, baby, them strokes gave me all types of, I don't know, white boy lacrosse player in the locker room type of strokes, Sean Cody ass strokes. It wasn't giving me nothing, baby. I'm so sorry. Them fucking jackhammer ass, short ass fucking strokes, bitch. I don't know what them bunny rabbit ass strokes Daemon was giving Viserys, but we're gonna have to come up with something else, okay? But honestly, this scene was just to be like, oh, Daemon liked to have sex, and he liked to have sex with Viserys, and he liked to have sex in the whorehouses, and he's just really bothered by him not being the fucking heir anymore, right? This tourney shit was so chaotic to me because first of all, I thought it was hilarious how Rhaenys cousin asked her for a favor, and she kind of does it like, okay, girl. But look at how Rhaenys and Corlys looking at each other like, bitch, this motherfucker ain't about to do shit. Rhaenys cousin sucks. He got he fucking sucks. Like, he got tipped over like a short and stout teapot when he got on that horse, bitch. He sucks. That shit was funny. I'm sorry. Daemon is, of course, a menace at this tourney. He chooses to go against the eldest son of the Hand of the King, of course, Sir Otto. Look at Corlys' face when that shit happened. This shit's so goddamn funny. Daemon is a menace. Daemon is a menace. He literally trips the guy's fucking horse. Like, Daemon needs to be stopped. Sir Otto is annoying, but sometimes I'm like, yo, Sir Otto kind of right about some shit. Daemon is crazy as fuck. Like, get his ass out of here. He literally beats up Sir Otto's son and asks Sir Otto's daughter, fucking Alicent, for a favor. Like, Sir Otto's looking like, girl, get out my face. He's like, girl, do what you got to do and get the fuck out of my face. I can't believe you're doing this dumb shit right now. I love that we get to see Rhaenys do Rhaenys. Just Rhaenys be Rhaenys during this time because the tourney was getting especially violent. It was more hand-to-hand shit. And this is when Corlys looks at her and says, is this how we should celebrate the king, like the king's new heir? Like, is this how we should do it with all this fucking crazy ass violence and shit? And Rhaenys was just like, these knights are as green as summer grass. They don't know anything about war. Bitch, we just seen Maegor get the fuck up out of here. These girls don't know anything about war. About violence for real. And she was just like looking at her nails. Like, I was like, I love a bad bitch with a dragon that talks shit. I do. I love it. So I absolutely love how while all of this is going on, right? All of this violence and craziness is going on. Blood explosions everywhere. We have the viciousness of this birth, right? Happening at the same time. So she's over there struggling, sis. Like, I'm talking about wailing. And of course, childbirth ain't no walk in the park. Like, we already know that. But it's Targaryens. It's Targaryen. Like, Targaryen women do not have this shit easy most of the time. The maesters are telling the king, look, guess what? You can save one or the other, but definitely not both, because it's just things are getting complicated. You have to make a decision now. And it's like, of course, Viserys, who is just convinced 100% that that's a boy in her stomach, child, he gonna get that boy. Okay, like, he gonna get that boy. And of course, like, I think that this would have been a very difficult situation for anybody to make, this difficult decision, for anybody in his position to make at all. Like, that was terrible. But I'm sure the fact that he was convinced that a whole entire boy was in there definitely helped him make that decision, right? But he literally goes up to the queen and is just like, hey girl, guess what? You all right, boo? You chilling? You all right? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, girl, what's the tea? What's up, mamas? And she was like, yeah, girl, you good? And Viserys was like, yeah, girl, ain't nothing happening right now. They getting a little knife over there for real quick. It's nothing that you got to worry about. I was like, how cruel is it for you to, I mean, I guess the other option would be to tell her, and then she's like, no, bitch, that's not happening. I'm getting my ass up. But still, I don't know. I mean, and then if she does that, like, both people, both the baby and her would have died. But it's just like, to literally be in her face and not, I don't know. That seemed especially cruel to me, to not be like, hey, we're about to cut you the fuck open. You know, it's just, it was, and she was just like, damn, okay, like, are you serious? What? Viserys, please no. I watched this entire scene with the volume down. I could not do it. I was looking away, looking between my fingers as well. Like, I could not. The same goes for the scene with Daemon just carrying out his just campaign of terror with the gold cloaks. I could not. I could not. We end up seeing the funeral scene. Of course, we saw Christian Cole. It was just setting up their rivalry real quick. I mean, that's what I think. It wasn't anything super crazy besides Daemon thinking that he went in, or that he won, and Christian Cole told him to fucking yield. Oberyn tease. But anyway. So we get to the funeral because obviously the queen died after all that ridiculous. But guess what? The child did too. So the male heir that he was just ready to just be jumping up for joy about actually died as well. And at the funeral scene, I love when Rhaenyra says, I wonder if during the few hours my brother lived, my father finally found happiness. She said, I'll never be a son. And Daemon's over there trying to cheer her ass up, but it's like you can see how aware she is even at this age of how crazy patriarchy and all the sexist bullshit is. And it's just, I love seeing this because it's going to inform how she acts as we watch her get older. People were kind of annoyed. I saw some people were a little bit annoyed by the way that Rhaenyra said Dracarys, but I'm just like, first of all, if this version of House Targaryen is much more connected to Old Valyria than, you know, Daenerys was, then of course there might be things that they say differently or do differently than Dany did because she was so disconnected, right? But at the same time, it's the first episode. Like, compare Emilia Clarke or compare anybody on any first episode to the mid or the final season. It's just like, I don't know. I think they're doing way too much. Like, let's watch the show, babies. Let's watch the show. There's going to be so much, I'm sure, about the language, about the magic, about the history, about the culture of all that Old Valyria Targaryens and shit that we did not know about before that we're gonna learn now. So I don't know. I think everyone, it's just a premiere. It's just the first episode. Let's just ride the wave and see what happens. Y'all already know how it goes in Westeros. First comes the tragedies, then come the council meetings. And Sir Otto said at the council meeting, basically, we need to talk about the goddamn succession. And everyone at the council table was like, bitch, guess what? We do not want Daemon on that hoe. He could be a second Maegor, the fucking cruel. We don't know what he's gonna do. You gave him a city watch. Imagine what you do if you gave him the fucking kingdom. They said, girl, we do not want him up there. Viserys looks at Otto like, girl, you didn't want him on anything. You didn't want him to be master of coin, master of laws. You didn't want him to be anything, you know. And they were just like, well, Otto was the one who said, why don't we put Rhaenyra on the throne? And the rest of them were just like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? The rest of them are like, girl, what are you talking about? And the king was like, well, I'm not going to choose between my brother and my daughter. And then he also says here that Daemon has ambition, but not for the throne. And the whole time, of course, Daemon is listening to this shit, right? And he literally chuckles when Viserys said that. Like, bitch, you really think I don't want that throne? Get up off that hoe. Get up off that hoe. And in true Viserys form, he ends the meeting by not dealing with the issue. And this is something I feel like we're going to see for just as a kind of recurring theme for his character. He's not going to deal with the issue. He literally says, my wife and essentially, bitch, my wife and son are dead. Ho, I'm not dealing with this bullshit. Basically, y'all coming after the throne. Everybody coming after the throne like they're crows to a dead body. It's just, it's not giving that. He got the fuck up. And I'm just like, okay, I understand, Viserys, you pissed, but you need to deal with shit before somebody else do. Sir Otto's nasty ass gonna tell Alicent after he was all hugging up on her, oh, my darling, my daughter, gonna tell her, hey, guess what? Go to the king. He said, go to the king room, wear your dead mama dress, and make sure he didn't say fuck the king, but that's exactly what it was giving. Nasty man. But it's just, that's, like I said, like we all know, that is a recurring theme when it comes to women in these times, in this show, in this series. They are constantly facing the pressure, the control that comes from men in these systems, in this society. So at the next council meeting, Sir Otto basically reports how Daemon called Viserys' kid that died an heir for a day. The heir for a day. Miss Mama said he only clocked in for 24. Daemon said he only clocked in for 24 hours and then he left the premises. I guess I'm still up for consideration. Sorry, my dear, but you are not up for elimination. That's what Daemon said. That's what Daemon said. I'm not sorry, my dear, but I am not up for elimination. Daemon Targaryen said, my promotion is still on track. Because that baby done kicked the bucket. That baby with that big ass head done kicked the bucket. And that's it. That's what Daemon said. So Sir Otto gonna come to the council talking about, oh girl, this is what he done said. Daemon was really in there cutting up. He was like, the gods give and the gods take away. They try to replace me, and I guess it didn't work out that well for they dumbass. It was a lot, right? So the king basically brings Daemon ass in here, and he was like, bitch, did you say that shit? And Daemon gonna smirk and say, hey, guess what? We all mourn in our own way. Like, girl, get out my face with that shit. Get out my face with that shit. And Viserys is like, why would you do this? Why would you say this? Why are you acting like this? I've only defended you. Everybody in court hates your ass. Every time I go to a council meeting, they tell me to ship your ass off to Essos or some shit. Like, bitch, why would you do this shit to me? Daemon gonna come back and say, you know what? You didn't, for the whole time, you didn't even make me hand of the king. You didn't make me nothing. Like, you're not shit. That's he said you're weak, and them girls in there and the council and everybody trying to leech off of you. I will protect you from these people. Sir Otto ain't shit either, and he's a cunt actually. And they talking about Viserys talking about Sir Otto's honorable, the most more honorable than you ever. It's like, girl, he literally sent his daughter to your fucking room, his young ass daughter to your fucking room. Ain't nothing honorable about that. Viserys tells him, guess what? I have a new heir. And that's it. You need to go back to your motherfucking wife. You called her a bronze bitch. Well, bitch, you better go back there and get your bronze medal because you ain't getting gold. You're not getting iron. You're not getting Iron Throne. Sit your ass down with your wife and get the fuck up out of my face. And that's what this was all about. I love when the Kingsguard came up and say, hey, Daemon, you might want to step back. You might want to step back. But I feel like this was definitely a moment where it's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. I see what's going on. And see, here is what I brought up to y'all in my video talking about the trailer, because I'm like, Viserys' hands is literally all over this fucking fire. It's all on the candle, and it makes me think that the Targaryens are resistant a little bit to fire. They're resistant, but it's not like they are going to be completely invulnerable to fire, obviously. And maybe the regular fire doesn't really piss them off as much or hurt them as much as like dragon fire does. You see what I'm saying? So I would love to see if this is just, oh, he's playing with the fire, or oh, like he's Targaryen and that's the reason why he's a little bit resistant to it, right? But here is where the episode is basically wrapping up, and Viserys ends up telling, first of all, Rhaenyra that she is the heir, and of course she's smiling and happy about that shit. But you know, after Daemon did all that shit, after so much problems with the fucking council in the court, he's just like, bitch, fuck it. Rhaenyra could, at this point, why not? Rhaenyra could be the heir. And then he also tells her this thing that kind of the fans, especially the ones that have been reading the books down, like they kind of theorized that this was a possibility. He tells her that Aegon knew that destruction was coming to Westeros, and that part of the reason that Aegon came to conquer Westeros was to prepare the entire realm for the coming of this darkness, this cold, this dark. He doesn't really specify it, but it was just destruction, darkness, and cold. He says that a Targaryen ruler has to, whether it be a king or queen, has to be on that seat, has to be on the Iron Throne in order to help the realm face this coming threat. So not only did the Targaryens know and get foresight about the doom of Valyria, but they also got Aegon dreamt about the Night King coming. Right, so that's the reason why we had to join them hoes up together. Of course, conquest comes with its its benefits, and you taking a land, you taking a resource, you ruling over them. But this is apparently a secret that has been passed from Targaryen ruler to Targaryen heir, right? That something is coming, and we need to keep the kingdoms together in order to help them face it. With news like this coming out about, like, you know, Aegon in the past and Valyria and all this shit, I wonder how much we're gonna learn about the time, you know, before the Targaryens came over here, like, because they drop in secrets and shit, like they drop in shit that fans been theorizing about, like, so what's the tea, you know? And then at the end we saw this swearing in ceremony. I call it swearing in ceremony, but like swearing fealty kind of thing, because King Viserys names Rhaenyra as his heir, and he wants all the lords to come in and say, hey bitch, we recognize this, we will just be faithful to the king and make sure his heir is put into place. But if you notice here, and Rhaenyra did notice too, if you notice here, the Baratheon guy, he hesitated. He hesitated, and he wanted people to know. He wanted her to know, like, girl, I'm bowing down because y'all bitches got dragons, but I'm not here for this shit. So y'all, this episode was so good. It wasn't like super duper action packed or anything like that, but I didn't expect it to be. I saw some people talking about, oh, well, you know, I wish I got a little bit more from this episode, but it was good. And to me, I'm just like, nah. Take your time. Go slow. This episode did feel like a prologue, and I'm fine with that. I'm so happy about that. Build the story up, build a foundation up. It's okay. I'm sure it's gonna be hella dragons to middle end of the season. That's fine. We already saw a bunch in the beginning. So it's just like, let us slowly build up to the story. We don't want to make any mistakes like we did, or like they did, like Dan and Dave did specifically in the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones. Like, build up the story slowly, make it believable, and that's fine, because I can wait for, you know, certain climactic things happening. I can wait for the climax. I can wait for huge things happening in the story, and it's actually more impactful if you build it up while on the way to those things. So I will be perfectly patient. The show is already here. I'll let it build up. But I think this is a very strong foundation. It really grounds people, especially people who don't really have a lot of the lore in their brains, you know, haven't read the books like that. It really grounds the audience, and I can't wait to see what comes next, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought of this episode. I'm so excited! And I will catch you all later.